you so much to our candidates who have agreed to participate this afternoon, or this evening rather. I don't know, it's still daylight outside, so it's afternoon as far as I'm concerned. I'd like to tell you a little, this forum this evening is being hosted by the Tucker Business Association and co-hosted by the Tucker Civic Association. I'm the president of the Tucker Business Association. Albert Steele is the president of Tucker Civic Association. We'll hear from him just in a moment, who will give you a couple of, give you a little bit of ideas about what's going on with Tucker Civic. We also, the Tucker Business Association is a membership-based organization, and we have our members are all businesses in the Tucker area, or members who are doing business in the Tucker area. We think that this is a good opportunity to help the community as a whole, and we welcome everybody to participate. And thank you very much. So now I'd like to introduce Albert Steele from Tucker Civic.
Thank you, honey. Tucker Civic Association is a nonprofit volunteer organization of residents and business owners located in and around Tucker. We're committed to promoting a healthy, safe, and fun community for all residents, the young, the aging, and the people who care for them. Tucker Civic is pleased to co-sponsor civic events such as this candidate forum. We wish the best for both candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. So now I'd like to introduce Jonathan Clark of the Tucker Business Association, who is our membership chair and our moderator for this evening, and Melissa Anderson Strait, who is the treasurer for TCA, and she's going to be our timekeeper this afternoon, or this evening. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan, who will introduce our candidates. Jonathan?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, honey. And again, thank you, everybody, to be here tonight and give us your time. And in this event, we're excited to have you all. Quick disclaimer, you know, the legalese, rapidly spoken words at the bottom of the ads. This candidate forum is presented for information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the candidates and the moderator are solely the opinions of the individuals involved and not necessarily the views of any organization, committee, or other group involved in the sponsorship or presentation of this forum. So with that being said, we are excited to provide this information for the community. We'd like to thank the candidates. Thank you, Nancy Jester and Robert Patrick, for coming out tonight and being here for the communities. We hope to provide information to our communities based on the questions that we have received at the Tucker Civic Association and at the Tucker Business Association. Please know that the candidates have not been provided these questions prior to tonight, so this is the first time they will be hearing them. During the presentation, all audience members will be muted and will not be open to the floor for questions from the public. We do strongly recommend that if you have additional questions and that if your specific question is not addressed here tonight, we do suggest you contact the candidates directly through their campaign headquarters, as they will be able to answer questions. And I know that they would love to hear from you if there's something that's on your mind that's pressing that we don't address tonight. With that, our format is a fairly simple format. We're going to begin. Each candidate is going to introduce themselves. We will have 5 questions that we will ask each candidate. Each candidate will get 2 minutes for the introductions and 1 minute for each question to be able to respond. We will go in an alternating format. We will start with the incumbent, Ms. Jester, first, and then we will go to Robert, Mr. Patrick second, and then we will alternate thereafter until we get through the closing remarks. During the questions and the remarks, Melissa will raise her hand when 10 seconds are left. Excuse me, I apologize. When 30 seconds are left, she'll have a sign. Melissa, there you go. And then she will also announce when you have 15 seconds. There you go. And then we'll make an announcement when your time is up, and we respectfully ask that you finish on time. And then, of course, as I said, after we're finished, each candidate will have 2 minutes for closing. So with that, again, thank you. We look forward to a wonderful event tonight. So if we could, Ms. Jester, if you would please, as the incumbent, start us off and provide us with a brief introduction and, your thoughts on running for this position.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the Tucker Business Association for hosting this important forum, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with the residents and constituents during this campaign. My understanding and affinity for the district and the county come from being a homeowner in Dunwoody, where I'm raising my family now, and I've also been a homeowner in Chamblee in the city of Decatur before. My aunt and uncle live in Tucker, and they've been homeowners there for over 50 years. I've dedicated my last 10 years to public service. I've served on the Board of Education, and I've had the honor of serving as your county commissioner for the last 6 years. I'm proud of the record of accomplishments and reforms I've helped usher in during this time, working collaboratively with my colleagues who've made me chair of the Finance Committee for the last 3 years. We have developed financial tools and policies. Prior to my tenure, the board received no financial statements on a regular basis, and now we review in detail the actual expenditures of the county on a monthly basis for all the tax and enterprise funds. And because we've been watching so closely, we've been able to accumulate a cash reserve of over $100 million. I led the effort to use our internal auditor to review large dollar procurements, and by doing so just last year, we saved $30 million in unnecessary expenditures. I led the effort to clean up the audits. DeKalb went from findings that persisted for years to no significant findings and the timely issuance of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, also known as CAFR. For the first time in the history of the Finance Committee in the county, we passed important debt, investment, and reserve policies, and because of this work, the bond rating agencies have upgraded DeKalb's bond rating twice since I have been the chair of the Finance Committee. And important for Tucker, I have commissioner-directed funds of over $1 million to fund improvements at Henderson Park, Peters Park, and acquire more green space, over $1 million directed to Tucker. I'm proud of our constituent services that we have to offer. We work very hard in our office to do that. I'd also like to remind everyone it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so make sure you get your screenings and your mammograms. And I'll stop there with my 2 minutes, and I look forward to questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Mr. Patrick, would you please introduce yourself to us and your interest in this position?
I will. First, I'd like to say thank you to my opponent for recognizing breast cancer. My mom actually this year was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and I do appreciate you being concerned about stuff like that. That really does hit close to home, so thank you. I also say that it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so that is something to be paying attention with, especially with everything that's happening right now with coronavirus. Anyway, my name is Robert Patrick. I'm the Democratic nominee for District 1 DeKalb County Commissioner. I'd like to thank the Tucker Business Association for the opportunity to meet with the District 1 voters that are concerned with the community as much as I am. I'm running to use my knowledge and experience to move the county forward. Moving the county forward means making investments in infrastructure to attract new residents, new businesses, jobs, supporting our diverse communities, and having a variety of housing options for all economic levels in our community. It means good transportation systems to get our residents to jobs, schools, grocery stores, home, and back safely and quickly. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a DeKalb County resident since 2003. My wife and I have been married for 19 years, and we've got 3 wonderful kids. I believe in serving the community, which is why I've worked the past 14 years in a community development department and also served 8 years as a city councilman with the city of Doraville. I was also elected as mayor pro tem during that time frame and served as both president and vice president of the DeKalb Municipal Association. I've advocated for ethics reform, balanced budgets, body cameras for police officers, infrastructure improvements such as paving roads, repairing sidewalks, and investing in our parks. I've also worked to remove blight from our communities that I serve. That's critical in our gateways. And I also believe these are the fundamental building blocks for safe and welcoming neighborhoods. I've worked to reduce red tape and attract good businesses into our community by making the code more efficient and protecting our residents. And thank you.
Thank you. And now we will begin with our questions for the evening. And we'll start with Mr. Patrick. And again, for the questions, you will each have 1 minute to respond. Mr. Patrick, budgets and transparencies are important to taxpayers. Please describe the top 3 fiscal priorities for DeKalb County.
Of course, I think fiscal priority is always maintaining a reserve budget in case we run into emergencies such as what we're in right now, which is the coronavirus economy. We're not sure how long this is going to be here and how long it will be affecting us. I also think a priority is getting our infrastructure together. You know, expediting business licenses and permitting processes is a critical way to make sure that the revenues are coming into the county's reserves or into our revenues. And so focusing on, again, getting past the coronavirus, working on expedited permitting processes and making sure that businesses are able to open quickly and efficiently. I think that'll be a good way to keep the county's budget in good shape. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jester, budgets and transparencies are important to taxpayers. Please describe your top 3 fiscal priorities for DeKalb County.
So continuing the great work we've done, as I've said, I'm the chair of the Finance Committee for 3 years, and we've done the hard work of accumulating over $100 million in cash reserves. So we've got to continue that process with our conservative budgeting. Additionally, we're going to have to look at all of our enterprise funds, our sanitation, and our stormwater and our water sewer funds. So those are things that we need to monitor closely for their funding ratios, their sufficiency ratios. We're engaged in studies right now about that. I sit on the Public Works Committee. I will say that as far as funding infrastructure, we passed a SPLOST. That's something that I'm proud that we got to do, and that has helped tremendously, get us, over an obstacle that we had for infrastructure funding. So I'm very pleased that I have a record of accomplishment in doing budgets and offering transparency to the citizens of District 1 in DeKalb.
Thank you. And I did want to mention too, I will be repeating the questions because some of these have a couple of parts to them. So just so you know, I'll repeat them for each candidate. So sorry for the redundancy, but just want everybody to have
thank you.
The fair shake. So, and Ms. Jester, we'll go back to you for the first question, for the first opportunity to respond to question number 2. Do you consider DeKalb's current infrastructure sufficient to encourage residential and business growth? Water and sewer expansion seem to be at the heart of infrastructure needs, in addition to billing issues associated with this department. And please describe a plan that you have to correct and update systems and funding in DeKalb.
Thank you. Well, it's through my leadership that the county acknowledged the billing problem in DeKalb County. I had probably the largest attended town hall meeting about that in the history of DeKalb County. And prior to that, we had abuses of rate payers for the sewer system. So I'm very proud that I also sponsored legislation to create the Citizens Oversight Committee. So I'm very glad we have that. So those are concrete things I've done to the benefit of the citizens of DeKalb County. We do not have sufficient investment right now. We have better than when I started. So I'm happy to say that we have been able to more aggressively use our bond funds to fix the sewer system. And we went from spending almost just a few $1 million a year to now hundreds of millions of dollars each year for the past 3 years. So I'm feeling better about where we are. We have a long way to go in that. 1 minute is probably not enough time to describe all the details of that. So I encourage folks to email me any questions about that. But that's something I work very hard to be transparent about with the citizens of DeKalb County.
Thank you. And Mr. Patrick, do you consider DeKalb's current infrastructure sufficient to encourage residential and business growth? Water and sewer expansion seem to be at the heart of infrastructure needs, in addition to billing issues associated with this department. Please describe any plans to correct and update systems and funding in DeKalb County.
Thank you. Currently, right now, the system is not adequate. If you look at certain development opportunities that are in the area, the county is essentially asking private developers to invest another $1 million in a sewage holding tank. That is not an economic incentive. I also know that the county I guess within the last 2 or 3 years, had allowed water and sewer from Gwinnett County to come into DeKalb County for economic development purposes. That is not sufficient for us to continue to grow. I know that there's been a lot of talk of activity, but as of right now, I think we're at about 40 million gallons of spilt sewage in our neighborhoods and our parks. It's an absolute disincentive. If you look at what's happening with the business license process, again, it's up to 4 to 6 months of what I've heard to get people to get a business license. I think the repair or the way to fix this is to work with the private developers as well as with our budgeting and come up with a plan for immediate areas where we have imminent activity that's going to happen and encourage people to invest there and get the county to collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Patrick, we'll stay with you for the first response to question number 3. Sanitation is another important service. In Tucker, our residential service is far superior to our business service. Would you support a private service for businesses in the event DeKalb is unable to satisfy this need? And please explain your answer.
That's a good question. I sort of have experience at 2 different municipalities dealing with private trash service. There are benefits that come with that. From my experience, the commercial ends up providing a little bit of a subsidy for the residential trash services. So I think there might be a bit of a concern doing that. I think the first thing though would be to actually reach out to all the businesses and get a survey of the level of service. Again, as you've said, residentially speaking, the service, from my opinion, has been fantastic. We've been very happy with it. Whatever the problems there may be with the commercial trash service, I think, again, it's a matter of talking with the individual businesses and then coordinating on our staff side to make it work. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jester, sanitation is another important service. In Tucker, our residential service is far superior to our business service. Would you support a private service for businesses in the event DeKalb is unable to satisfy this need? And please explain your answer.
Thank you. So sanitation is one of our enterprise funds. It's self-funding. The fee that folks residentially have been paying has been held the same for, I believe this is the 17th year without any change to that fee. We are overdue for a rate sufficiency look at that. And that is something that I've been pushing hard on through the Public Works Committee, and I believe is in process now with the administration. So that's really a look more at residential, but also commercial, the whole thing. I support options for people, and if we're not delivering the service they need, so I definitely support having private entities compete with what we're offering. I do think that over the next year we're going to see some big improvements there because we're doing rate sufficiency study and we're looking at that enterprise fund. So I'm thankful for you for giving us this question, because it's occurring to me we need to have a dialogue with the business community in Tucker then, so that we can make sure we're meeting their needs and at least we can compete for their business in DeKalb. I think that's where I want DeKalb to be. I want options for everybody, but competition.
Thank you. And Ms. Jester, for question number 4, we will stay with you to respond first. Certainly, COVID-19 has been an economic deterrent. DeKalb received millions of funds in the CARES initiative. In your opinion, has DeKalb maximized this funding, and could businesses still benefit? And if so, what would you recommend moving forward?
So thank you for the question. We have received about $125 million in CARES Act funding. We have dispersed a good bit now to the cities. All of the cities got an allocation that the Board of Commissioners approved. I don't think we've been as quick and as efficient in deploying these resources as I would have liked, and some of the other commissioners. So I sponsored a $15 million grant program piece of legislation and got that passed from the Board of Commissioners. So we've set up a $15 million small business grant program. We've spent money on rent and utility assistance, things like that, that have been driven by the commissioners. So I'm very proud of the work I'm doing there. I wish the administration was just a little bit faster in their concepts and ideas, but individual commissioners, to include myself, have move forward with these various initiatives to include the small business help. So again, there's more to do. You know, we've got the fall ahead of us with the flu season as well. So more to do.
Thank you. Mr. Patrick, certainly COVID has been an economic deterrent. DeKalb received millions of funds in the CARES initiative. In your opinion, has DeKalb maximized this funding, and could businesses still benefit? And what would you recommend moving forward?
Thank you. I'm going to say, first of all, I guess if I was in the commission position seat, you know, I wouldn't have played the games that were done with the city of Brookhaven and their residents. I believe that probably about 60 or 70% of the county's tax base and probably about 40 or 50% of the residents are in the municipalities. And I'm not sure that that's a wise idea during these times to sort of be interjecting politics into critical urgent needs. When it comes to what I would suggest with additional resources to help business, I would actually look into purchasing additional testing kits. That would be a phenomenal way that if we could distribute those testings to our local businesses, particularly restaurants, there would be that level of safety and security, letting people know that it's okay to come on back out. Go to a restaurant, go out shopping, and not necessarily wear a mask, but only if we have those testing materials in place. So that would be one way that I would look into that. And again, I would always put the priority of the resident safety first before putting politics into any decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for the fifth question, and what will be our final formal question. We'll stay with you for your response first. Public safety is a concern to businesses and citizens. Should you take office in January, what should DeKalb do to support, enhance, and maintain our police and firefighters in DeKalb County?
That's a great question, because even in good economic times, being a police officer is a difficult task, especially now more so with all the activities that are happening with coronavirus and the concerns for equity and across society. Again, I would focus in on equipment, I would focus in on training, but I would also encourage the police officer leadership, as well as even through the fire department and ambulance services, to get out and actually directly engage with the residents. And that may mean, you know, a series of neighborhood barbecues or get-togethers, even if it's socially distancing, but there has to be ways that we have to rebuild trust with the community for what the police officers do. I know that there's been a lot of concern about, again, social justice and equity issues, but everybody wants to be safe. And it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter how wealthy or educated you are. You want to be safe and secure. And I think, again, supporting our police officers and first responders is the way to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jester, public safety is a concern to businesses and citizens. Should you remain in office in January, what should DeKalb do to support, enhance, and maintain our police force and our firefighters?
Thank you for the question. We need to continue doing some of the important work that we've accomplished over the last 6 years. I've led the way in supporting increased pay for our first responders. That was a big issue. You know, they're getting hazard pay through the CARES Act funding now, so that is helping a lot, and that's certainly helping morale. We already have extensive training and equipment. We've been very good about investing there as far as the technologies. We're definitely you know, on the forefront of all the body camera technologies and the license plate readers, all that kind of stuff. And our training, we have great training for dealing with people with mental health issues and any kind of that specialty training now. That's been a priority of the department. And if you're paying attention to our police force, you would know they do engage with the community. That's something that I'm proud of. I'm proud of the model we have in Tucker too, with that Tucker precinct covering the city and having liaison officers with the city. I think our community supports the police department very much. I think that's why you see a consistent comments to commissioners that they love the police.
Thank you. That ends our 5 formal questions that we have for you, candidates, this evening. Thank you for your responses to those questions. At this point, we will love to hear some closing remarks from each of you. We'll have 2 minutes for each of you to make some closing summary comments. And Ms. Jester, your turn is up in the rotation. If you would please let us know if there's anything else you'd like to add and share with us.
Okay, so these are closing comments. I just want to.
Yes, ma'am. Closing comment.
Okay. I'd like to thank the Tucker Business Association for hosting this important forum. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I was in Tucker yesterday having lunch with Mayor Allman, and it's important to note that he has endorsed my reelection, so I appreciate the mayor's support. I was in Tucker today campaigning on Main Street, and I was over at the Butterfly Garden in front of the Tucker Rec Center. I painted some of those flowers on the Tucker Rec Center in that beautiful mural that's over there. And as I stated in my opening statement, my record is perfectly clear. I have used my financial professional background to improve the oversight and control of DeKalb's financial matters. We built from the ground up a system of financial reporting and cleaned up the audits. My colleagues have placed me as the chair of the Finance Committee for 3 years, and this speaks volumes about their confidence in my work and our collaborative approach to the reforms in DeKalb County. But you don't have to take my word for it. Here is what some of my colleagues who are endorsing me have said about me. Commissioner Rader from District 2 said, in local government, it's essential to focus on service delivery, constituent care, and accountability to the public. Nancy Jester is dedicated to these priorities and has a track record of community engagement, incisive oversight, and attention to detail in the operation of the government that affects the quality of life daily. Commissioner Kathy Gannon, who is endorsing me, says, Nancy Jester is one of the most conscientious and hardworking commissioners in DeKalb County. Nancy is the one who keeps us on track to watchdog our use of your tax dollars. Nancy is a partner who works well with others, but is not reluctant to ask the hard questions. And Mayor Eric Clarkson of the city of Chamblee is endorsing me, and he states, she's been an important and reliable supporter for all the cities in her district. As the mayor of Chamblee, her advocacy for our city has been invaluable. Nancy has also worked with her fellow commissioners to bring fiscal accountability and ethics reform to DeKalb. So I'm very proud to have just a sampling of those endorsement statements and the support of the great mayor of Tucker, Mayor Frank Allman. And again, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for the opportunity. Again, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please make sure you get your screenings and your mammograms. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. And Mr. Patrick, if you would, closing remarks or comments that you would like, please take, we have 2 minutes for these closing remarks.
Sure. In closing, I want to thank the Tucker Business Association for holding the District 1 Candidate Forum, and I also want to thank those of you that are attending for your consideration. DeKalb County is about 270 square miles of land, 2,000 miles of highways and county roads, and 3,000 miles of water lines. This is a collection of land and infrastructure, but they are the physical parts of our community. DeKalb County is more than this infrastructure. It is the place where over 700,000 people's hopes and dreams are achieved every day with every mile driven to work or Little League, for every page turned during schooling, for every dollar spent on groceries or in housing. We depend on these things to work every day, and we can get ahead so that we can get ahead in our own lives. The future is bright for the Metro Atlanta area as it grows from the 8th largest to the 6th largest community in the United States. However, DeKalb is projected to fall to 4th place in terms of population growth. That's behind Gwinnett and Cobb counties. 4th place means 4th place on property values, 4th place on educational options for our kids, and 4th place for economic options for us. While my opponent has a track record of putting politics ahead of good policy, I've spent my career as a staff person in the community development department and as an elected official making government work for the residents and for the businesses. Good government is for all of us. You have my commitment to work with my fellow commissioners to grow District 1 and all of DeKalb County. You will have my commitment as your next commissioner to provide stellar constituent services and responsiveness for District 1, not just in the larger cities, but also in the unincorporated communities as well. I will not jeopardize economic health of our residents for politics, period. And as far as endorsements goes, I have the endorsement of Senator Sally Harrell, Senator Rahman Ahmed. I also have the endorsement of Senator Steve Henson, former Governor Roy Barnes, and I have a variety of recognition from local municipalities, from Tucker to Dunwoody to Doraville and Chamblee. In closing, proven track record of success and experience that will be important as we move through the coronavirus economy. I encourage you to visit my website, voterobertpatrick.com, where you can find out more about me, request a yard sign, or give a financial contribution. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you for that. To the candidates, I want to say thank you. I appreciate your responses. Hope we were able to provide the community with information, enlightenment, so they can make a strong decision. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Honey, and we'll move from here.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much, Jonathan. And you and Melissa were just awesome. Melissa, you did a really good job on timekeeping, and I also have to congratulate the candidates for keeping on time. I mean, this is phenomenal. Thank you ever so much. I want to thank not only the Tucker Civic Association in this endeavor, but also the attendees this evening. I hope you found that this information was useful, and we're going to be doing another one next Tuesday night on the 6th at 7 o'clock, and then we'll be talking about our congressional district number 4, Hank Johnson and his, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. Sorry, my bad. You'll have to forgive me for that. So anyway, so you want to check back in. And Stephen, do you have anything you'd like to about the registering for that?
The person who's running against Hank Johnson is Josie Cruz Ezamundin. So clarify that. And then we will be sending out some Facebook messaging as well as some emails and posting it on our website. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at our other forums.
Again, thank you all so much, the candidates. Thank you so much, and our attendees, and all of our staff here. So thank you very much, and good night.
Thanks. Good night.